It was pretty calm in terms of the winds that were blowing, just down to a couple of knots really, but there was still a bit of a swell out there and it was foggy. But despite that, about 6:30 this morning, out of the fog, we saw the first Border Force vessel picking up its first dinghy of the day. 9 dinghies in total we've counted so far that have attempted to come across to the UK, to UK waters, and been intercepted by Border Force, picked up and of course then taken here to Dover. It was about, I would say, no more than about half an hour after that first vessel that the second Border Force vessel had intercepted not 1 but 2 dinghies, and you could see actually the migrants on the vessel itself right up in the bow, all wearing the orange life jackets, and at the back of the vessel, the stern of the vessel, again dozens of migrants on that boat. In fact, over the weekend, Patrick, we had close to 800 people who crossed in small boats. If you add about another 450 or so today, I mean, that takes it well over 1,200 in the space of just a few days. And what is the reason that they're coming in this few days, this 3-day period? Well, it's purely because of that break in the weather conditions. The fact that the winds, which have been so prevailingly from the north for many weeks and months now, had turned back to a sort of southerly direction and had died down a bit. Tomorrow, they're back from a northerly, northeasterly direction again, which will make passage across the channel for these small dinghies much more difficult. So expect that number trying to cross to be very diminished, if not none at all, for the next few days at least. So the government, yes, is right when they say that the boat numbers are down 20% on this period last year. But I think they're wrong to suggest this is government policy. This is all about the weather.
No, and it's exactly the point that I was about to ask you just then, Mark, which is that, is there any sign that this has got anything to do with a deterrent? Is there any sign that this has got anything to do with the fear of the consequences of getting here and finding yourself in a migrant hotel? Or is the word Rwanda even mentioned when it comes to these people? Are we seeing fewer human trafficking gangs? And if the answer to all of those things is no, then it has to be the weather. And that is one thing that Rishi Sunak cannot control. Are we getting value for money from the French, though, Mark? You know, I know that we blame the French quite a bit for everything. They have got a long area of coastline there, but we are giving them around 500 million quid, and Rishi Sunak was saying they'd stopped half of the crossing. So, I mean, is that true?
Well, I think it certainly is true that the French have stepped up their activities. What's happened, though, Patrick, is that a lot of the French policing now is around those beaches where traditionally over the last year or two, many boats have set off from, around Gravelines, around Dunkirk, and further south towards Calais. But what's happened, because the police are there in greater numbers now, they're actually going up and trying to get boats before they get them in the water and puncturing these boats. Well, the people traffickers, who have grown in sophistication over the years, are just changing their tactics yet again, and they're pushing off for much further down the coast, further down towards Boulogne. It's a longer journey, it's potentially more treacherous, but it then allows them, at least for the time being, to be able to push off into the sea unhindered by too many police and security personnel from France. I mean, the thing I will say for the UK government that is correct is that there has been a very significant tailing off of the number of Albanians who've come across. It's gone from 13,000 last year to so far this year just 28. Now, the thing to add to that is that normally the Albanians will be coming later in the year when the summer is underway properly. But even if the number is down, we don't know what the underlying factor of that is. Is it tougher government policy? Is it actually due to the fact that 13,000 came last year and all those that want to come have pretty much come already? What the government have said with regard to all of these policies is they acknowledge there is no silver bullet, but they hope that all of the policies, a tougher stance on Albania, more money to French authorities, the Rwanda policy, if it ever gets off the ground, that all of these combined will have the desired effect. But in claiming that now, Patrick, I think is a tad premature. I honestly think that it's due to the weather that we've seen a reduction on the same period last year.